in the midst of untruth, truth persists.
The matter were really pressed, but I think that whatever Bill Clinton did when he was president isn't covered here, because whatever relationship he had with Jeffrey Epstein wasn't in the course of his official duties as president. So, both Hillary and Bill recognize that they have to testify, so they're not putting up a fight anymore, and they're testifying.
I didn't know that. Thank you for highlighting that. And Mr. Badham, lastly, why is Hillary Clinton in particular, pushing Trump to testify more? She has said that that they should ask President Trump under oath about the Epstein files.
Because she's a smart political operative and an opportunist, and she knows that President Trump has been mentioned in the Epstein files repeatedly, and she wants to throw dirt at President Trump to make him look bad, even though there's no indication that he did anything wrong with respect to Epstein, just as I don't think there's any indication that Bill or Hillary Clinton did anything wrong or illegal with respect to Jeffrey Epstein's criminal escapades. So she wants Trump to testify to embarrass him and to embarrass the Republicans and to cause the Republicans to lose control of Congress in the midterm congressional elections that take place in November, just under 9 months from now. So it's a political move on her part. She thinks President Trump is vulnerable on this point, and indeed, if people keep talking about Trump and Epstein this, Trump and Epstein that, all the time, people will start to forget that there is no criminal connection between, at least as far as we know right now, between Trump and Epstein. The act of repetition over and over again has convinced many people in America that Trump did something criminal with respect to Jeffrey Epstein, even though there's no proof of that right now. So, she's just playing politics here.
Thank you for highlighting that, Mr. Badham. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now, staying in U.S., Pentagon officials. Thank you. Now, staying in U.S., Pentagon officials have sent AI company Anthropic what they describe as their best and final offer to grant the U.S. military unrestricted access to the firm's artificial intelligence technology. According to experts, the move comes ahead of a Friday deadline set by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who has said Anthropic must agree to full use of its AI or risk losing business with the Department of Defense. The dispute revolves around usage restrictions imposed by Anthropic on its AI model, including limits on autonomous weapons use and mass surveillance, which the Pentagon says could hamper military operations. Officials have warned the company could be labeled a supply chain risk or may face enforcement under laws like the Defense Production Act if it does not comply with the military's terms. Anthropic, which previously won a multi-million-dollar defense contract, has not yet responded publicly to the final offer as negotiations continue. Now we welcome back Mr. Matthew Badham. He's an American journalist, joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Mr. Badham, for staying with us. Now, looking at this, why is Pentagon giving Anthropic, the final offer now? Why can't U.S. military, as we know, U.S. military has the capability and has the finance and has the means to develop something of their own?
I don't know why the Pentagon isn't developing their own artificial intelligence system. I have no idea, but the Pentagon has signed a deal for hundreds of millions of dollars with Anthropic, and they want Anthropic to bow to their demands. Now, I'm not sure what the Pentagon, what the Department of War, or which we used to call the Department of Defense, wants to do with the Anthropic AI systems. But the company Anthropic is very concerned that the way things are structured right now, the Pentagon could use its AI system to operate AI-controlled weapons. The company does not believe, reportedly does not believe, that the AI technology has evolved to the point where it could competently operate weapons. So they consider this, a risk that AI weapons, could spin out of control. It makes me think of the popular movie from the last century, The Terminator, right? When Skynet, the AI system, takes control and declares war on the human race and nearly obliterates them. Anyway.
Yes, yes, that's a good one, Mr. Vadum. Yes, indeed.
I think that's the analogy people need to be thinking about. Skynet, that was the name of the AI system. So Anthropic has concerns that the weapons could, this is not a safe way of doing things, and they don't want to be associated with it. They also, reportedly, Anthropic is concerned that the Pentagon could use its AI system for mass surveillance, and they don't want to be associated with that either. With that sort of a dystopian potential use.
And Mr. Vadum, so what would be the long-term and short-term effects of, a private sector like Anthropic to be collaborating with U.S. Pentagon? What if something goes wrong? Then what?
If Anthropic concedes or gives in to the demands of the War Department, then it is afraid that I guess of reputational risk. It doesn't want to be associated with AI-controlled weapons going out of control and killing people. Other than enemies on the battlefield, killing unexpectedly killing people, and it doesn't want to be associated with mass surveillance. So it views this as a real threat to its corporate image, and it's like the worst fantasy, the worst sort of horrific fantasies about what AI is capable of, as in the movie The Terminator, and Skynet. So they just don't want to be associated with the innocent loss of lives, or with innocent people being surveyed by the Defense Department. They want no part of it. And so if they don't give in to what the Pentagon wants, the Pentagon is planning to blacklist them. And that will definitely hurt this this growing business.
Right. Thank you very much. With that, I'd like to thank Mr. Vadum. Now we move on to Europe. Germany's far-right party, AfD, has welcomed a court ruling it described as a victory for democracy, saying the decision strengthens political freedoms and the rights of opposition parties. The party said the judgment confirms its right to operate without undue state interference and protect voters' ability to choose freely at the ballot box. AfD leaders argued the ruling pushes back against what they call political stigmatization and attempts to marginalize the party. However, critics and opponents warned the decision could encourage far-right rhetoric and deepen polarization in German politics. Now we move on to Middle East. Rights Chief Volker Turk has said Israel's actions in the occupied West Bank and the Gaza Strip seem aimed at creating permanent demographic change. Speaking before the UN Human Rights Council, Turk has warned that these operations could be contributing to ethnic cleansing in the region. Turk has pointed in particular to an ongoing year-long Israeli military operation in the West Bank's north that has caused the displacement of 32,000 Palestinians. Separately, Amnesty International has condemned the international community's failure to hold Israel accountable for its violations of international law in the occupied West Bank, calling it a major factor in the irreversible annexation of Palestinian land. The human rights group accused global powers of emboldening Israel's far-right government, which has intensified its efforts to dispossess Palestinians. Now we welcome Mr. Ali Muhammad Bushbak. He's a Middle East researcher, joins us live from Cairo. Thank you very much, Mr. Bushbak, for joining us again. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Now, what more can you tell us about this ongoing situation and also UN's comments on West Bank?
Thank you, Osama, for having
much.
me. In things the West Bank situation is very miserable, while Israel, we are not talking only about the Israeli settlement.
Yes.
We are not talking about only the Israelis, encouraged to
Yes.
immigrate the Palestinian from West Bank only, and the Israeli annexation in West Bank, is it legal or legal? We are talking about the action not only from the Israeli government, but from the settlers themselves, as well as they are trying continuously to make the life of the civilians from West Bank is a more miserable. Israelis settlers, they are continuously storming the Palestinians, the Palestinian camp. The Palestinians are also gathering. They are making their life miserable for the sake of making the life of the Palestinian incredible, and they will leave from West Bank to another places. The Israeli also settlers, they insist and deliberately they are hand over several of Palestinians' land, and they are trying to make their life more miserable by attacking them. Recently, we hear, the news is not covering the situation, how much Israeli settlers, they are attacking the Palestinian civilians, innocent civilians from West Bank. Daily there is an attack, daily there is an clashes between civilians and Israeli settlers. We are talking about this kind of danger in the Palestinian community, not only from the Israeli government facilitated for this kind of group to attack the community of Palestinian, but Israeli government facilitated their action on the ground, as well as by the cover of the Israeli settler, by the cover of the Israeli police and Israeli army. They are attacking the civilians from West Bank. Also, there is, worth mentioning that and turn the attention of the audience. Itamar Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, the financial minister of Israel, he's always pledged to encourage the immigration from Palestine, not only from West Bank itself, but only from the whole Palestine. And he make a promise to restructure the settlement in Gaza and West Bank, make it as a promise for himself. As well as this kind maybe of this speech and the promise and the pledge, it's just only for an election and for just only political purpose. But in my opinion, on the ground, it's considered as a truly things, and it's considered and can translate on the ground. It's continuously Israel try to kill the civilians and making the life of the civilians in West Bank miserable, and also change the status quo in Jerusalem as well. As the same things happen. They are limiting for the Palestinians in this holy month to enter Al-Aqsa Mosque, at the most holy site for the civilians in Palestine and for all Muslim people. That's a kind of action make it the life of Palestinian more incredible, and making the situation definitely change for sake of departure the civilians from their land, from Palestine. And this ultimately what will happen, destroy the two-state solution, destroy the Palestinians' dream to establish their statehood. And this is a big challenge for the peace between Palestine and Israel, as well as this is put a danger for the socio-political coexistence between Palestine and Israel. Osuma.
So how do you analyze the current situation? As Hamas hasn't disarmed, but the talks continue. Where's the talks going? Is it happening, the phase 2? Are they still pushing for phase 2?
In fact, about it, if it's Hamas disarmed or still arming, Benjamin Netanyahu is so happy with such kind of situation. There is a silent war in Gaza, and there is a silent annexation in West Bank, despite the every things and despite all the international community condemn the Israelis' action and annexation, condemn the Israelis breaking violating the ceasefire in Gaza. But Benjamin Netanyahu is more happy with such kind of situation. Make it neither war and neither peace, nor peace in Gaza as well as in West Bank. Palestinian Authority, it's more weak. There is no any representative for the Palestinian Authority to make any change on the ground. But these kind of things making the life and the situation of Palestine is more difficult. This is a very crucial moment, very crucial time for the Palestinian to challenge this kind of policy from the Israeli government. It's need for the Palestinian to gather and to think about a way to leave and to skip this kind of a crisis, because we are talking about Benjamin Netanyahu and his government coalition, far right wing, Benjamin Benetfir and Smotrich. They are so thirst for the Palestinian blood. They are so thirst for the Palestinians, killing Palestinians and make their situation miserable. About we are talking also about the voluntarily departure or voluntarily leave Gaza and West Bank as well, because both of them, they are aligned in the same plan. Both of this, the evacuated Gaza and evacuated West Bank, it was the one aims for Israel. No doubt about the situation in East Jerusalem, how much miserable, and daily they are arresting civilians, and daily they make their life more miserable and incredible life in East Jerusalem. But there also the old situation about the Israelis' policy on the ground make it more difficult. And despite the all international community condemn, but there is no any change on the ground, and nothing will change because that Benjamin Netanyahu. And today also the Israeli defense minister, he said, we don't need the world love us. We need the world afraid of us. We don't need the world to help us. We need to make sure about the world will afraid from us, and we will continue our policy on the ground. There is nothing will limit and stop Israel, because they are acting, they are above of the international community, of the international law. And also, this is about the board of peace, Donald Trump, that how much it's failed and it's not making any change on the ground, and will not save the Palestinians' future, will not save the Palestinians' life as well. This piece of board, it's just only like a lie, and it's like to want to just only manipulate the international community and the civilians.
With that, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Ali Muhammad Bushbak, for joining us and sharing that insight with us on NewsX World. Now we move on to Russia. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova has sharply criticized the European Union's plan to implement a permanent ban on Russian oil imports. Zakharova has described such a move as the work of a madman, highlighting the growing tensions between Russia and the EU over energy trade. The European Commission is set to submit the proposal on April 15th, following Hungary's parliamentary election. Let's listen into what the spokesperson has shared.
И вот на этом фоне Европейская комиссия сама себе запрещает приобретать у надежного, проверенного десятилетиями поставщика по разумным, обоюдовыгодным ценам энергоресурсы. Мне кажется, так может себя вести только умалишенный. Очевидно, что ставка в очередной раз делается на то, чтобы согласовать данный запрет квалифицированным большинством в обход позиции своих же собственных союзников, и я бы даже сказала, сочленов Будапешта и Братиславы, которые по-прежнему заинтересованы в импорте российской нефти, потому что, как и говорили руководители этих стран, в частности Виктор Орбан, так все и получается. То есть это те люди, это те лидеры, которые сохраняют экспертизу такого уровня, которая подтверждается временем.
NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.